Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis.
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
Good day and welcome to our podcast. This is CampHacker episode 94, recorded on the 26th of October, 2016. On today's show, the Tool of the Week show. If you would like easy, automatic, free updates of our podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or use the free Stitcher app. This week's CampHacker podcast is sponsored by GoCamp Pro. GoCamp Pro is a year-round online camp conference for the true summer camp mavericks, the camp pros who can't stand it when people say, "That's not how we do things around here." GoCamp Pro is a community of year-round summer camp staffers who empower each other to make the big changes that camp needs so that our campers and staff will go and change the world. To try it free for 1 week, go to www.gocamp.pro. And this week's CampHacker podcast is sponsored in part by camp pros like you who support the show on Patreon. We want to thank those patrons who have been supporting the show from the beginning and without fail. David G., Andy L., Marie W., Teresa M.L., Lisa Summer Fun, Ange A., Jack and Laura, and Mark P. If you've got even one good idea from the CampHacker podcast, you could show your support for the show for as little as $1 per episode. We've got some great rewards too, just like a Kickstarter campaign. Please go to patreon.com/CampHacker. We hope you enjoy the CampHacker show.
Hello, Camp Pros, and welcome to the CampHacker podcast. My name is Travis Allison. I am a co-founder of GoCamp Pro, a year-round camp conference online just for summer camp professionals.
Hi, my name is Dan Weir. I'm the Director of Camping Services at Frost Valley YMCA. Frost Valley is a year-round camp conference education facility up in the Catskill Mountains, about 2.5 hours away from Manhattan, and I oversee the overnight camping.
And my name is Gabrielle Rail, and I'm one of the camp directors at Camp Waro. Camp Waro is an all-girls camp situated in the Laurentian Mountains of Quebec, and we focus on positive girl community.
And my name is Joe Richards. I'm the executive director at Pierce Williams Christian Center, which is a United Church of Canada summer camp and retreat facility. We are located about halfway between Detroit and Toronto.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I had the pleasure of seeing Joe last week. Going to see Gab in the next 10 days, too. And Dan will just keep giving each other high fives on Skype. For the
Yes. Yeah. See each other one day, you know.
We're excited to have you here for this show. We're going to do something a little differently. We've done this a couple times for staff trainings where we sort of bounce back and forth with ideas, but as people are starting to get more and more stressed about their year and the stuff that they are trying to accomplish, what we decided is we are going to give you as many tools to accomplish as many things as possible in one show. So we're calling this the Tool of the Week show. This whole thing is about tools of the week. And so we're going to begin with apps and software and things we use on our computer to make our camp director life better. And I'm going to start us off, first of all, with the one thing that I use most consistently hundreds of times a day. There's probably about 3 things I use that many times a day, but one that I've found consistently helpful, makes my life easier, means that I don't have to hire IT people, is Google Apps for Business. So we use all of our emails for GoCamp Pro, for Walking Maverick, for CampHacker, all run through Google Apps for Business. And Beth and I coordinate things on a calendar because we both work in different offices, and coordinate our family that way. And really just having the ease of access of all of my email since I started the Walking Maverick account almost 10 years ago available to me for search has saved my bacon so many times. So for calendaring, it's great. For keeping my contacts coordinated between my Gmail and my phone, I don't even think about it. It's so easy. And one particular trick I would share just to get us started is there's several options for setting up your email inside Google Apps. And I use the one that's called Priority Inbox. And I have everything set. If you're not into organizing your email, you're going to gloss over for 60 more seconds, and then I'm going to pass the baton. I use priority inbox. Everything that comes in automatically has a star applied to it. And then I can read an email. It'll, be new emails at the very top. And then a section below it that is starred and not archived. Those are things I have to deal with. And then a section below that's kind of reference material that I might need sometime soon. Everything else is archived and out of the way. So most of the time, 2 or 3 times a day, I get to the point that I have no unread emails. And that I only have a list of usually less than 10, sometimes 0 emails that I actually have to deal with. And then I have all the reference stuff below that. So it's a lot less stressful seeing I don't have to see this huge number of emails that I haven't dealt with. They've all been put into my system of things I need to do or answered quickly. And then I move on from there. So Google Apps and the particular way I've tuned the setup for that really does make my life way more easier than it used to be. And so I'm grateful for that. We happen to have a free account from the good old days where you could get a certain number of free accounts. And we got grandfathered into that. But for nonprofits, you could still get it for free. And for profits, it usually costs $50 US per seat, meaning per email address, per person, per year. And not having to hire someone to manage IT and emails for all of that stuff, so worth it to my mind if you can get it set up properly. So number 1 pick for me is Google Apps for Business. Gab, what's your number 1 pick for on your computer?
On my computer would have to be Trello.
Okay.
We've spoken about it on the show a couple of times, and anybody that's a listener of this show knows that my organizational skills is still working on that. And so Trello really helps you organize different projects that you're working on. We primarily use it for our staff. So when we're hiring staff members, and it can also be visual. So for me, it's really important, instead of just having the name, person X has applied, we actually have a picture of them. We have all of their information, the contact information, and then you can also add, comments and so on and so forth. And you can create steps. So has this person gone through this step? Have they gone through, how did they answer this or that? So we use it primarily for our staff hiring, and it can be a desktop app as well. And you can use it on your phone. So I really enjoy using Trello for organizing. And if you have a lot of people involved, you can make sure that they're following the proper steps, and it has really helped with our office to stay organized, especially if you have multiple offices. So yeah, Trello's right up there for me.
Amazing. Right on. I know many people that love Trello. It's great to hear that you've found a good system that you can duplicate for some big stressful part of the business of Woro. Dan, what's next for you? What's your number 1 computer app that makes you easier to do your job?
Yeah. So you talked about Google Apps for Business. One of the things that is in the Gmail app that makes my life utterly amazing is it's called Canned Responses.
Yes.
And so you can create a response for any question or any email that you get that doesn't seem automatic. And so I get a lot of repetition. We serve a high volume of people, and so I get a high volume of the same question. And so any question I have to answer the same in a week, I make a canned response for. And then it's loaded in your Gmail, and it's amazing because then I can also just edit it after I load it. And so I have it's made my life so much easier, and it's the only way I can manage my email box and get through them in the day. So
awesome. Right on. And Joe?
I would think that one of the ones that I use every day would be Evernote. So Evernote is both a desktop app and an app for my phone, an app for anywhere. And I use it, I have it set up for just basic note-taking and for getting things done if I follow that at any given time. And it just as a reference for, when I drive for camp, I have a note to put my kilometers in. And when somebody says we need this from town, I have a town list of things that I need to buy when I'm in town. So Evernote is I do pay a subscription fee for it, but there's a free level as well that will work for most people.
Amazing. And I watched Joe's brother Dan taking handwritten notes on Evernote on a tablet this weekend at the conference that Joe was hosting that I was speaking at. And Evernote's come a long way since I first started using it years ago. So it's neat to see that you can also just write your notes into it and it translates them into text for you. Perfect. So we're going to go pretty rapid fire. My Google Apps explanation might have been too long, so we'll just keep things going quick. Other thing that I use every day, so many times I forget how many times a day I use it. It's called Text Expander. And it is a piece of software that takes a bit of practice to get used to. But once you start to do it, it is amazing. The fun thing about Text Expander is it will save your statistics of how much time it saves you. And in the past 16 months, it has saved me 40 hours of work. And so it has saved me a whole week in the last year of work. Text Expander is an app that's installed on my computer that allows me to put in something called a snippet. So it'd be a short piece of code that I've made up that then expands into a longer phrase or word, etc. So I consider things that I type more than 3 or 4 times a day, same way as Dan's thinking about canned responses. Things that I type more than 3 or 4 times a day, I make a snippet out of it. And so, for example, if you've tried to contact me, you may know that I use multiple email addresses for different projects, etc. They all go to the same box, but I need to sometimes sign them with different things. So I have a little code that I type in that will expand each one of those emails. It saves me about half of the characters. So not a lot on, one-on-one uses, I don't save a lot. But on the bigger cases, it continues on. So when I'm taking notes for a coaching call, I use 2 specific snippets. I use a snippet that is CH, I have to look at my fingers, CHCOD, it's CampHacker, what the CH stands for. COD is a coaching description, coaching call description, is how I remember that, COD. And that expands to coaching call, and then the date on the end of it, and it puts the cursor in the middle that allows me to type in Frost Valley Y for who's my coach. Then I start the note, and then I put in CHCON, CampHacker coaching notes, and that expands into this great big list that includes an agenda, notes from the call, lessons, accountables from our last call, things for me to do, things for the next person to do, and the date for our next call. All those things just pop up, and then I just have to fill in my little spaces. So that was something that I was doing multiple times a day, so I just created a snippet and saved myself the time. If I want to type in my CampHacker email address, I will put in CH for CampHacker and then EM at the end for email. CHEM turns into travis@camphacker.tv. And there's lots of videos you can do. I'm working on one myself for GoCamp Pro members to show you how Text Expander can save you this much time. But now that I've developed the habit, can't believe how much time it saves me and how many times a day I use it. I really do use it hundreds of times a day. Even just typing my own name, I type in TTR and it expands into Travis Allison, which I type my own name probably a few dozen times a day too. So my big one's Text Expander, and it would change the world for me if I didn't have it. I'm not going to go in exactly the same order, so I'm going back to you, Joe.
The second one, I guess on my list, this isn't one I use every day, but it's one that surprises people when we need to resize photographs at camp and you want to resize a whole bunch at once to get them down to something you can post online. There's an app called Photo Resize, and when you type that in, you're going to get thousands of hits. I've put the link in the show notes, and it is brilliant because all you do to resize is say, is you change the name of the app on your desktop. So right now, mine is set to Photo Resize 3500, which means the shortest side of that photo is going to be 3500 pixels. So if CampBrain is a great example for this, because to put people's photos into CampBrain, camper photos, they only print out on my reports if they're under a certain size, if they're like 320 pixels or less per side. And so I'll just set Photo Resize to 310, and then I can resize the entire folder at once. It takes maybe 30 seconds, and then I have all of those photos able to go into CampBrain and be printed on reports. Photo Resize, and everyone I share it with It's just an app that lives on your desktop, and you drag a photo into it to resize. It can't be simpler than this.
Beauty. Gab.
Are we still sticking with desktops or?
Yeah, for a bit if you've got some more.
Yeah, I'm going to state the extreme obvious, but for me and for anybody that's on GoCamp Pro, but I love Slack, and I'm a big fan of Slack. And if you have multiple offices, if you're working on different teams, it's an amazing way to organize conversation. And I think it's, for me at this moment, the best tool for making sure that things aren't, there's no misunderstandings. And if you're supervising staff members, I find it very difficult to supervise staff members when they're emailing each other and you're not part of that conversation.
Right.
So just hearing or seeing what they're talking about, you can chime in. And it also makes it light in the sense of not too serious. You can add GIFs, funny pictures, documents, but it has almost every team that I end up working with, we start a Slack group so that we can, remain on the same page. But I love it. Love it.
Right. And it operates in a lot along the same lines as Gmail, in that you can go back and search through old stuff.
Exactly.
And Gab, do you folks pay for Slack in your office, or are you still using the free one?
We're still using the free one. And I have, at this point, I think up to 8 Slack groups.
Right.
So some for my staff, for a core team, and then any committee that I'm on, it's my stipulation. like, guess what, guys? I'm going to teach you this. It's called Slack.
Right.
So yeah, I find it to be fantastic.
An awesome tool for replacing, as Gab says, replacing team conversations in email, and just a fun way to keep easy communication going. On and on. Right on, Dan.
I got a few. This one's called Spacemonger, and it's a visualizer for the space you have on your computer. And so sometimes the search doesn't always pull up, like when you're searching your computer, it doesn't always pull up everything because you might mistitle things or how in depth the search are. But Spacemonger allows for me to kind of visually see how my folders are set up and the files that are in that. And then it allows for me to condense things and keep my computer clean. So I really, and it's a free app. It's funny. It hasn't been updated in years, but it's basic and it works and it's nice. So Spacemongers is that app.
Perfect. Okay, so another quick one from me. It's called Newsfeed Eradicator, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It's a Chrome extension for Facebook. I use Facebook a lot for managing clients' Facebook pages, for looking at Summer Camp Professionals group, etc. And I hate that they work so hard to get me sucked into Facebook. And the way I control that is to use this app so that there's no newsfeed for me when I sign in on my computer. It's different on my phone. I try not to go there unless I have time to just flick through things. But it cuts out everything in that newsfeed in that center column and just puts up a lovely inspirational quote. So I can go straight to Summer Camp Professionals if I need to, or the CampHacker page, or whatever I need. But I'm not stuck in that mind suck that is that. So every time I open up Facebook on Chrome, Newsfeed Eradicator inspires me instead of sucks me into the hellhole of the newsfeed and get me stuck there for half an hour. So Newsfeed Eradicator is mine. Gabrielle.
Mine's a little bit more expensive, but I like Final Cut Pro for video editing. So those that use maybe another editing software, you'll probably find that they crash very often. So it's about $400, and there's a little bit of a learning curve, but your videos, it'll save you in time. And there's a lot of great tutorials out there to help you out. But if you can, just splurge that little extra bit, I find that using Final Cut is pretty awesome, and it won't crash, and it has some great effects, and it'll just make your videos look a little bit more professional.
Great. Tian?
One that is free is GIMP, GIMP, and I use it for manipulating photos. But it's free, and yeah, I love it.
Excellent. Joe.
Dropbox or Box, both are online storage sites, and I literally use it all the time. I just don't pay attention to the fact that I'm using it because it's on my computer. There are two different things. Dropbox and Box are two different companies. I happen to have 50 gigabytes of storage on Box, and so we use that account to back up our entire camp file system somewhere so that we know what's going on and we know we can get that back if we need it. We don't access those files at all because we do that internally, but Dropbox or Box, any sort of online file storage.
Excellent. Thank you. Mine is also video editor, Gab. It is called ScreenFlow for Mac, and it does 80% of what Final Cut does, and it's sort of lightweight. It's about $100 for ScreenFlow 6. And I have given up on Final Cut entirely because it does everything that I need to put out these videos on YouTube. If some of you are watching on YouTube, to do screencasts, all of the stuff that I need for GoCamp Pro. And it is only for Mac. There is Camtasia, which works for Mac and Windows for the same sort of thing, but I can only recommend ScreenFlow. Dan, do you have more computer stuff?
Just a Gome player. So I do a lot of presentations and a lot of slideshows, and it's kind of vital that your computer boots up correctly and you have a video player that consistently performs. So I found that GOM player, Gome player, has been great, and it's been very lightweight in terms of the computer usage, and it executes really well.
Right on. So GOM player.
Right. Yes, Gome player. Yeah.
Got it.
And it's free.
I love all your open source choices, Dan. Good for you. Yeah. Gab.
I think I'm ready to move on to apps for phones, but so I'll pass so I can add some phone ones. Yeah.
All right. Joe, do you have more computer ones?
Yeah, I have two. The first one is Google Calendar, which if you use, we could do a whole show on how to tweak your inbox in Gmail to work. And I work on Google Apps, but Google Calendar is one of those things that we have it set up. I use it every day, all the time. I use it within an app on my phone, right? And we've trained our kids to use it on our personal Google Apps account,
right?
So that our kids can put their own things in, and I can see their calendars. And it's something that every family. I'm not sure how the fridge calendar would work in today's world.
Yeah.
And then the second app I have is similar. It sounds similar to what Dan was saying earlier with the Windows directory apps. I believe this is a Windows one, and it's called WinDirstat. So WinDirstat. And what it does, you ever had a computer where you're running out of space and you're like, how am I possibly running out of space? And WinDirstat, it visualizes your storage on your computer and leaves the bigger files as bigger blobs of color so that you can click on a big blob of color and be like, oh, I have a video that's taking up 4 gigabytes of space, that doesn't need to be on my computer. And you can go around and delete them from it's not something I use every day, but when my computer is getting too full, I'll certainly go through and see where my large files are.
Awesome. Good stuff. I'm just taking a quick look through my apps to see if there's other ones that I have. Dan, do you have more computery ones?
A lot of them are web-based. The only, I would say lynda.com,
yeah.
Lynda. It has a computer-based app so you can record videos or save videos to your computer. But Lynda's just, I have the paid business subscription, which is, I think, $35 a month. But any skill that you're lacking, in terms of business computer programming. They have a video for it, and not only a video, but a course. And so, like, I've watched a number of YouTube videos on different Microsoft Excel tricks, and they're not bad, but it's not sequential. You also don't know the expertise of the person, and lynda.com really verifies it. So for my office, I have 3 people that are continually working registration and need to keep up on their computer skills. And so definitely having a group account under my name has been awesome for the office. That's a computer app. Everything else I could kind of push into web. Web app. Salesforce is the only other one I could think of that we use. So a CRM, a customer relationship manager, but we use Salesforce. I know if you have CampMinder, it's kind of built in to it, but that is a great app as well. But that's more of a website than an app. But yeah.
Well, what's cool about Lynda is also all the apps or programs that we're talking about right now. Lynda.com has courses on them, right, on Slack, on Trail, on those. It's quite an amazing educational bank.
Great. That's awesome.
The other thing about Lynda to pay attention to is that your public library might give you free access to Lynda. Ooh. I know that I have a library card at St. Thomas Public Library, and that gets me a library card at the London. And when I was in at a workshop, they said, "Oh, access all of Lynda for free with your library card." And I was like, "Sweet,
that's
amazing.
Awesome." Good. I'm really pleased that we're able to get stuff at all sorts of different price points today. I'll give you a few of mine left on my computer. Todoist, Todoist is the personal to-do management list that I use for any projects. I've done a lot of work with projects, and I've tried out Trello and Asana, any sort of multi-office, multi-person projects. I have found that I always come back to Basecamp. Basecamp is the one that people who are not comfortable with technology can handle, because it allows you to basically work through your email box, which is a philosophy that I hope you don't do. But I have to acknowledge that there are people not as comfortable with technology as I am, and so they can see what's expected of them through their inbox. And it seems like it's just set up, the website interface is easy for people to use who aren't super comfortable with technology. One specific two more apps. One is called Annotate. It's you could use Snagit or Jing even. Those are screen capture software. So if I am trying to just illustrate a point, show somebody, hey, you need to click here on this thing, I just capture it with Annotate and send them the picture, often with an arrow that says, here's the thing, here's the button on the website that you're looking for, click here. And use Annotate all the time. One last thing, I guess this is our transition then to web-based apps before phone apps. Also for Google Apps is called Boomerang, and it's for my Gmail. And if there's an email that I'm writing somebody back and I know they're not super reliable at getting back to me, I will click Boomerang and it'll say, if no one replies in this term, no one replies in 1 week or no one replies in 2 weeks, then put this back in my inbox. Because the other Gmail trick I use is that if I send an email to someone, I have it set so that after I send an email, the whole thread of conversations gets archived. So I'm not keeping those things that I'm waiting for people to get back to me on in my inbox. It's already been dealt with on my side. But if I'm worried that this person will be unreliable, then I use Boomerang to have it come back into my inbox when I need. Or if I just need to clean out my inbox for a bit, I'll have stuff that I can't handle it till next week, so I push it out of my inbox and have it come back to me when it's time. Yeah, Dan?
I think you just changed my life. That's probably like about 50% of my job is remembering to follow up with people, and I keep them tagged in my inbox. And I am now giddy for when this episode's over and I can download that app. I'm like that.
It's a Chrome extension for Gmail, and so it is free. You can Boomerang a certain number of things a month for free, which I tend to stay within that, no problem. But if that's 50% of your life, Dan, then I bet paying for it would save you a lot of mental
Yeah,
stress.
I've just been flooding Google Calendar, but that would be great if it just reappeared. So.
Yeah, right on. So, other web apps. Dan, you said you had web apps.
Yeah, so we talked about Google Apps before, but I just really want to highlight two that I think get underused. One is Forms, Google Forms.
Oh yeah.
You can make a survey so quickly, and you don't need a lot of skill. I have coached a number of people here how to make a survey. I think SurveyMonkey, it costs money, and also people's comfortability with going to another website. But Google Forms is just it's really easy, really simple. I use it on everything from Northeast Y Camp Conference website, how you submit a session, to all the parent surveys we do. And they just add a new feature that tabulates it all for you as well too, which is just, it's great.
Awesome. Right on. Gab, do you have stuff that you would say are more web app than app on your phone?
I think I like. There's a new website web app that if you need to do it yourself, WebbyDo is really, really, really cool. So I used to use Squarespace before, and it's still very good. If you need like a simple page to do, but WebbyDo for me is the new kid in town, and it's a web app, and they have amazing customer service, but it's fairly simple to use if you have a little bit of design experience, and I'm loving it.
So it will allow you to create single web pages or whole websites.
It'll allow you to create a whole website,
okay,
without any coding. But it's fantastic. But I'd probably put Squarespace and WebbyDo together. If you're not as design savvy, you probably want to go with Squarespace. But if you have a little bit more of knowledge and you like fiddling around and okay with a learning curve, I'd go with WebbyDo.
Cool. Joe, do you have any web app specific ones?
Canva is one that I know you introduced me to a while ago, Travis. And what's happened here with Canva is we use Squarespace as our web-based our website stuff, but Canva allows our office staff who are not graphically design oriented to create things that look good. I'm not saying they look amazing, but if you have a feel for it, Canva can make anything look amazing. Yep. If you don't have a feel for it, you can make a basic announcement look pretty good. So, we have that. I have some that are crossover between web-based and what is on your phone, but I think a lot of those relate to the phone, the ease of use on the phone more than the web-based sitting at my computer.
Okay.
So Canva is the big one. Squarespace, as was mentioned, is also great. And if you're into it and have the ability, WordPress is a web-based app that can let you create websites. You just need to be more oriented towards programming then.
Right. Good. So the one web app that I had left on my list is called buffer.com, and it is a subscription we pay for through GoCamp Pro to manage all of our social accounts. That is all the CampHacker ones, all the GoCamp Pro ones, etc. And it allows us to upload a bunch of social media posts and then forget them. You basically create a buffer of things and say we want to post. We set up individual schedules. So CampHacker on Twitter, we want to post to 3 times a day. The Summer Camp Professionals group, we want to post to once a week. The CampHacker or the GoCamp Pro Facebook page, we want to post to once a day, and set those individual schedules and then fill up the buffer. I also have found an app called, I think it's HiPlay, HIPLAY, that also feeds buffer, that allows you to create basically a stream of your own posts, the ones that would be evergreen, meaning they're not dated, like send your forms in by Friday. So for past CampHacker shows, for past CampHacker blog posts, for past GoCamp Pro blog posts, pulling in the blog posts of all the GoCamp Pro founders, those things will just circulate forever. When there's space available in the buffer, it'll put them in there, and HiPlay does that for you. So it's cut back on a ton of time that I used to waste managing putting stuff out to go to our social things. And every time we put stuff out on, for example, Summer Camp Professionals, the automated one once a week, we get a surge of people looking at our material again. And so it's paid off for sure. Any more web apps? Let's see if we do that before we move on to apps.
I like using Mint. I don't know if you guys have used Mint, but it helps track just financial spending, and I find especially during the summer, I have a hard time keeping up with that. And it's a web app. Obviously, it's an app for your phone, but just keeping track of comings and goings, and making sure that if I have my driving staff that go and do our purchases, that they have that app, and we can just keep track of what we're where's our money going to during the summer. And it does great graphs, and it's a really good, it's easy to use, but I think it just makes me feel a little bit more sane.
Right.
In the end. I also use Buffer, and I enjoy it, by the way. I love that app. I think that's such a great tool.
Cool. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see us all now shift from looking at the cameras down to looking at our phones in our hands as we start to pull up our most used apps on our phones. I think this group is pretty thoughtful about this sort of stuff in general, so I don't even know where to start. But I'll make it Dan. What for you is the number one app on your phone that you want to talk about?
Number one. I got to rank them now. This is
the first one you're going to talk about, not ranked.
The first one. So I like the app Daily Cost. So I go on a fair amount of business trips, and I often have to use petty cash, or I have to use my credit card, and sometimes I forget how much I spend. So Daily Cost just allows for you to enter in what you spent, how you spent it, and it's archived. So I've used it a few times where we just need a quick estimate, or I had a question about petty cash, and I could go back to, I'll go back and check that day. And so that's been a really great one. It's a free app.
Have you got 2 or 3 more that we'll do bunches for bunches?
Yeah, totally. Another one I use is Forest. So I sometimes have I've noticed in my work that I could get really bogged down on just responding to things, and so in order to get a significant project done, I have to kind of turn off every device. I have to just focus. And so Forest is so silly. You set your phone on a timer anywhere from like 15 minutes to 120 minutes, and it grows a tree while you're not touching your phone. And if you try to use your phone, you have to destroy your tree. You have to cut your tree, and it works. It works. It totally works. It's like so silly, and it was something that I heard off of some podcast where they're talking about tricking your brain into allowing for you to work more. But it's a free app, and then you get coins for more trees you grow different types of trees. It's a whole thing. So that's a really fun app that I use. Another one I use is Today, and so Today is a combination of reminders, but also keeping track. So basically, Today is free up to a certain point, and it has, for instance, 3 reminders on there. So as I'm building a skill, or I need to remind myself every other day to work out, or I need to remind myself that you're trying to learn Spanish, make sure you get your Spanish lesson in today, like those sorts of things. And it keeps track, and then it has the little thing where it feeds you for every time you make an appointment, so it rewards you or acknowledges every time you've had a streak. So that's a really great app, again, free. And the last one is going to sound silly. I have a lot of banter with my staff and with alumni and with just kind of everyone in that booth. So I have the Giphy app on my phone, Giphy, and I find written communication can often be misinterpreted, and if you say something that could come off too strong, people take it as that you're angry, and so sometimes I will work in a GIF every once in a while to just keep the mood light. And so there's sometimes where people are messaging me and all I do is respond in GIFs, and it's fun and it works. And but it keeps the banter moving and keeps the relationship there, and it's also amusing. So yeah,
Right on.
those are my 4 apps.
Cool. So Dan, I know that you have to go. Do you have any final apps? Those are your big phone ones?
Yeah, that's really the biggest ones. Podcasting, I love Downcast, is a really great one.
Yeah.
Other than that, we've pretty much have been covering most of the things that I use on a day-to-day for work. I outside that's like fantasy football and like a few news apps, but yeah, that's really it. So
amazing. All right. Well, Dan, thanks for being on the show. If people want to follow up with you, where should they? How can they get in touch?
Yeah, you can find me at so I work at Frost Valley YMCA, which is frostvalley.org. You can email me through there, which is just campdirector@frostvalley.org. I also have all my presentations and have a site called danlovescamp.com as well too. But those are the easiest ways to find me.
Cool. Thanks for sharing all these things that make you a great camp director, Dan.
Thank you.
All right. Joe, do you have a list? Do 2 or 3, and then we'll come back around to you if you've got more than that.
Yeah, I have a list. It's up to 15 on my on my apps list. The first one is web-based as well, and it works both. I use it all the time. That's why I forgot about it on web-based is LastPass, which is a password manager. And the fact that I don't need to add passwords into boxes on my phone, I can just have LastPass put them in is great. The second app I use a lot is Pocket. So Pocket is like an Instapaper. It just saves articles so I can read them at some other point when I have time. I use Pocket all the time to save things I want to do, and you can save videos and you can save everything else. Let's see, Flipboard. I stopped downloading news apps, like newspaper apps, and I just went to Flipboard because it works for me. I can put my feeds in there, so I get my Twitter and some Facebook in there, but I just search for topics and put them in, and then it works really well for that. And Flipboard is not the news, but it's a way. Like recently, I've added news sites I wouldn't normally go to, like Fox News out of the States, just to see what craziness is on in the world. And so it's a great way to just get a mix of things so you're not overloaded by one thing at a time. And then looking down the list, there's an app that's specifically for Android phones called Pi Control, which allows you to, all of the apps that you use most, allows you to touch your finger to the side of the phone, and it gives you access to just swipe up to them. Pi Control is the name of the app. It's
how do you spell it?
I use it all the time. Pi, P-I-E, Control.
That's interesting. I'll look for
it's
that. It's
just a little thing. So, yeah, when I put my thumb on the edge of my screen, I get 6, 12 different. Yeah, that's how I pick the apps I use the most, because the ones I use the most, I put in Pi Control, so I don't have to go into my apps list. I just touch it and go like, okay, so I have some time, I'll go to Flipboard right now, or I have some time, I'll go to Feedly or to Storm, any of those. So yeah.
Good. Okay, so I'll come back to you if you've got more. How about for you, Gab? What's your list?
So I don't have 15, so I'm writing down all of Joe's Joe's apps. But so I have a theme. It's mostly about design, but it's to help you do design in an easy and fun way. So my 3 for design on my phone is A Beautiful Mess, Afterlight, and then this GIF maker, which it is called just GIF maker basically. And so A Beautiful Mess, they all have a little bit of different uses, but A Beautiful Mess you have really nice little doodles that you can put over top of images. You can put messages, all that kind of stuff. So that looks great on Instagram. Afterlight can really spruce up your pictures. It looks like you had some sort of twin lens camera with vintage, whatever, all over. It's beautiful. And then the gift maker allows you to use pictures from your phone and to create up to 5 pictures, a GIF, or from videos, or from pictures from Facebook. So that's also really fun for Instagram and reaching out to your campers. And even if you have a special meal at camp, and you take 5 pictures of the chef making that meal, from beginning to end in 5 pictures, that's the kind of stuff that you don't need your computer program to do. And I find really, really, really helpful. So those are my 3 design apps that I have on my phone that I use all the time.
Amazing. So Joe skipped right by something that I don't want to let go. In fact, 2 things I want to pick up on what Joe said. Number 1 was Feedly. Feedly is a way to sort news from websites. So it's how I follow on camp news. It's how I follow up on news about all sorts of things, photography, stuff that interests me, and allows me to have it all in one place. So open up the phone app or the iPad app, or I need to take a break at the office, and I just open up feedly.com, and it allows me to find the specific sites that I want to watch for news, etc. My next... the other thing I was going to pick up from Joe was LastPass. I don't know how to say this with as much kindness as it deserves, but if you don't use a password manager like LastPass, or in my case I use 1Password, if you don't use one of those and create complicated passwords for things, you have already been compromised. Somebody has already got access to your computer. Somebody has already got access to your banking information, etc. It is irresponsible of you as an adult in 2016 to not use a password database and very complicated passwords. And nothing frustrates me more than going to a website that won't allow you to use complicated passwords. It drives me crazy. And enough people around me have been compromised and had money stolen from them, or had their identity stolen, or that. It is irresponsible as an adult, let alone a camp director managing other people's kids, to not use complicated passwords. Ones that you can never remember. So you use LastPass or 1Password to store those things, and then they also copy and paste from within your phone, to assign into a website or an app. And if anybody, I will offer this for free. Go email me, travis@camphacker.tv. I will spend 5 minutes with you and help you set it up to do it, because I believe so strongly in this.
See, and I'll admit I'm one of those irresponsible individuals, and I I was about to say, it sounds okay. This is me being very naive, but if you're posting your last password somewhere in your phone, can't somebody just figure that out? I guess that's what the email is for. But see, in my head, I'm like, well, they'll just find it.
Sure. And totally fair question. So why it's called LastPass or 1Password is you create one password that's complicated to remember. And so it's the only one of those passwords you have to remember. So most people who have an iOS device with the fingerprint thumb scanning, or a new Google device with the fingerprint scanning, that biometric scan will open that database. The database itself is encrypted, meaning that no one can access it without your 1Password. So if your 1Password, your last password you put in is giraffe, that's not complicated enough. But I remember one of the first complicated passwords I ever used was never eat shredded wheat. And it's that many, each extra character you add on requires a ton more time to crack that. So never eat shredded wheat is not a very complicated password anymore. But you just have one that you can remember. It could be the first line of your favorite book. Like that could be 100 characters. Something like that you will remember, but people won't associate with your birthday, places you've lived, your family names, passwords 1, 2, 3, 4, any of those really simple to guess things. It's something that is unique to you that you'll remember. And then you'll have to remember that one. Everything else is copy and paste from this encrypted database that you control.
That's cool.
So if you want, Gab, I will finish the Skype call with you and help you set one up.
I need it.
Because you don't have to remember the words and numbers and symbols. You just copy and paste them from the database into your the web form, etc.
Yeah, no, and I'm like I wouldn't say I'm the worst, but I'm very close. I have probably second place for the worst. I can't remember them. I create them. I have to reset them. The amount of different passwords I have, it drives me mental. Yeah.
Well, of course, and that's the problem of being an adult in this world. You have to have each password should be unique, and they should all be complicated, so complicated that you'll never remember them. And so that's the only way to be successful. People just get tired and type in giraffe123 and roll the dice. And if you've seen all the lists of passwords that have been compromised from major websites, etc., then you know that it's just irresponsible at this point, I think, to do that.
Yeah.
So
tough love. I like it.
Rant over. Apps that'll make you a better camp director. I use Pocket Cast as my podcast listener app, and I have it, like all these software things, I have it tuned up to my personal preference. One thing I do is I create a playlist called News, where I listen to CBC News, BBC News, and NPR News. And I used to listen to Al Jazeera before they stopped the feed, but so that in the first thing in the morning, I listen to that playlist while I'm making breakfast for Beth, while she's getting ready for work, or I'm making coffee. I listen to that walking Mav, so that I feel like I have listened to the news once in a day, and that's all that's in that little playlist. And I can make other playlists for different things, and I can also listen to podcasts at extra speed. So I usually listen to podcasts at 1.5 times the normal speed, or 1.8 times the normal speed, so that I can listen to more of them in the short period of time that I have while taking Maverick around the block. So, since I went on such a rant and I've only really done one app, I'm going to pass it back to Joe to give us some more out of his 15.
Okay. These two are related. The first one is one called Custom Soundboard, which is on my Android, and we put on a tablet this summer for our morning radio show. So Custom Soundboard allows you to record voice memos and turn them into playable sound bites, or you can download online MP3s or sound files and put them in. And it's brilliant because we recorded our radio show intro at a local radio station, and they emailed it to us, and then we could play it. Just press the button on the soundboard and it plays, and it's great. The second one to attach to that is an app called Zedge, Zedge, and it is for essentially finding ringtones and notification sounds, which is also great because some of those we use on our custom soundboard, right? Baby laughing, or crowd applause, or Chewbacca screaming. Right. So it allows you to, on your phone, you can set different people to have different ringtones. So whenever my son texts me right now, Chewbacca screams at me, which is great. And then I know that it's Matthew, and it's brilliant. And so different people have different sounds. And when my buddy Ian, who's a really big Star Wars fan, when he texts me, it's R2-D2, right? So I only have those attached to one person, and Zedge allows me to do a lot of those customizations. Sticking with the idea of sound, VLC for Android is an app that allows your phone to basically play any, and when I mean any video, sound, file format. No more of this. You don't have the right extension. VLC just plays it. I use it to store movies on my phone. So when I'm traveling, I can watch movies on my phone, and it just plays back with VLC.
Amazing. Right on. Gab, what else you got?
These are sort of a little bit more personal ones, but I think a lot of us have different health sort of apps, and I have a slew of them, like drinking water, blah blah blah. But the three that I use over and over again are there's a Jamie Oliver app that basically has 20-minute meals, and there's another one that's not 20 minutes, just a whole bunch of meals. But basically, what's great about it is that it comes with its own shopping list, that it has little videos on how to do things. But
smart.
I don't have recipes with me when I want to go shopping. And so I have my list with me and I can, check it off, and it just helps me, be excited about cooking. The other one is the Nike Train app that's free, and you can do 15-minute workouts or you can do 45-minute workouts and you gain points. And but by far I find when I'm traveling, this is something you can do in your hotel room. It's also something you can do at camp in the morning before you go to a meeting, which I try to do. So I just have my head cleared before I start the day. It's like a little me time. And then the last thing, which I've mentioned on CampHacker before, but the app Clue, which is a period tracker. And that's it. I use this often, and I think it's very helpful. At camp, it's very helpful. It has a little circle on where you are in your cycle, and when you're PMSing, it has these stormy clouds, and so I'm like, oh my goodness, stormy cloud time. And at one of our staff meetings, I held my phone up and I said, okay, I'm at stormy time right now, so my patient level is still there, but let's all tread, in a thoughtful, mindful way. So no, it's great. It keeps track, and it's really simple and easy to use. And then it's a good way of you learning about your body and how you're doing. And that's how I learned that I'm not gluten intolerant. I don't have an allergy to gluten, but I realize that it does affect my periods and stuff in a harder way. So it lessens it. Like I was like, oh, this actually causes more issues. So so I'm just being really sharesy right now. But
That's good. That's good. That's
there
good.
we go. Those are my 3 apps.
More than half of our listeners, I think at last count, it was about 66% of our listeners are pumping their fists and saying, finally, something to help out with that.
Yeah, it's a good little app. And I have my staff, I suggest it to them. I say, hey, maybe you would like this app. And I like things that are simple and pretty. So Clue is a great one.
Great. So I'm going to do a block of mine, and then I'm going to come back to you for the one remaining app that you think should absolutely be mentioned, both Gab and Joe. So I don't go anywhere without turning on Waze, 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 if you're a US American. It is owned by Google. It is an app that gives you directions to things, but also takes into consideration traffic. And there have been times when I check the route that Waze is sending me, and I think that makes no sense whatsoever. And every time I have not trusted Waze, once in its early days, it sent me in a bit of a circle. But I've been using this since I used to travel to work in Toronto, starting 8 years ago. And so I've been using it for 8 years. And even on a simple trip to visit my mother-in-law, we turn it on because it once saved us an hour. In a 45-minute trip, it saved us an hour because it got us off the major highway when there was an accident. So Waze I use for every trip. Something else that some of you will appreciate, won't affect a lot of you, but when we were camp directing, we were driving all the time. And sometimes you just can't help but get stuck when you're on the road and you're exhausted and you're having a hard time staying awake. And I have an app on my phone called Stay Awake that will set a random timer between 60 seconds and 5 minutes that all of a sudden beeps and blares at you, and you have to touch the screen to turn it off. And in really desperate drives, when I just needed to make it the last half hour home, I've turned Stay Awake on, and I think it's been helpful. Other apps that I use all the time, I try to keep not very many cards in my wallet, try to keep a really small wallet. And so I have the Tim Hortons app to pay for my Tim Hortons. I have the Starbucks app to pay for my Starbucks, and another app called CardStar that takes all of the gym membership stuff, my Venture One account for Canada Post. All those cards are in there, so I don't have to physically carry them everywhere I go. And my last one, this is a good bookend to my rant, is called Authy, Authy. You can also use Google Authenticator for this, and it allows you to have what's called two-factor authentication for signing into things. And two-factor authentication has saved our bacon when somebody tried to compromise Beth's email. And it has, people have made many attempts on my email addresses as well, those older ones that have been around for a long time, like travis@walkingmaverick.com. But I have two-factor authentication on. So when I sign into Gmail on my phone for the first time, I put in my name and my complicated password, and then I have to open up the app called Authy, and it is connected to my Google account. And it will give me basically a second password. It's a 6-digit number that I have to type in. And so I have second factor authentication that I have to have not just my username and password to get signed into things, but this second factor from the app. I have that set for Facebook, Dropbox, Slack, WordPress, Stripe, MailChimp, WePay, Xbox, Kickstarter, IFTTT. All of those I have second factor authentication on, mostly because I put my credit card into them and stored them there, and want to make sure even some of those purchases have to have that second factor. So Authy, AUTHY, allows me to manage that, and you can set it up within the security settings of each one of those different apps. There you go. Joe, one last one?
One last one's going to be two. They're both Google apps, and it's Google AdWords for your phone and Google Analytics for your phone. If you manage AdWords, or if you have a free AdWords because you're a nonprofit, and you have analytics set up on your website, it's so much easier than going to the website, because you can see things. I can see that over the last week I've had a 2.83 click-through rating on all of my Google AdWords, which is great, considering that one is considered positive, and so it's just a great way to see things and see what they're asking you to do to help you have better analytics and better AdWords. So those are the two apps that are my final.
All right. Cap, what else you got? One last one?
Yep. If you're a music lover, you use it, and if you're not so much, you might not use it as much. But it's simple. It's Shazam, and the reason why I bring it up is I just think everybody uses Shazam. And I went on a trip with a friend, and basicry she was asking me, "Oh, how come you know such great music? I don't know music." And I was like, "Oh, just Shazam." Anytime I bop my head up and down, it finds out what song it is. And the reason why I think it helps me be a good camp director is that with my staff, I connect with them through music a lot of the times. I create playlists during the summer, and a lot of the time staff they're like, "Your music is great. Where do you find your music?" And it's literally when I'm watching TV and I'm like, "Oh, this is a great song." Or if I'm in a coffee shop, "This is a great song." And I end up creating playlists that way. But it helps. It's a conversation starter, and I connect to it, and then other people connect to that music. But if you don't know where to find great music, just have Shazam on your phone, and then when you hear something where your head's, or your knee is, your foot's tapping, click Shazam, and there you go.
Yeah, excellent. Yep. Good. Well, listeners and watchers, I'm sure you've been overwhelmed by this. I didn't keep an app count number, but it looks like we're north of 50 probably. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with us, or you have any feedback about this totally different format than usual. You can send that. I'm at CampHacker on Twitter, or Travis at camphacker.tv to do that. Thank you everyone for listening. Thanks to Dan, who had to jump out, and to Gab and Joe for being here. If you appreciated what you got out of this different format, one way you could give us feedback is to leave an honest review on iTunes. Go to camphacker.tv/iTunes, or even use your own podcast app and submit a review there, especially if you're on Android. So we're really grateful to everyone who has been listening or watching here on YouTube. And we look forward to giving you many more shows this fall. We're just starting to release them into your feeds right now. So if you have any questions or things, please do get in touch with us. So we said goodbye to Dan already. Joe, if people have some follow-up with you, how do they get in touch?
If people want to follow up, they can just get in touch with me at joe@campisbetter.com, which is our camp website, campisbetter.com, or they can see all of my social media feeds and whatnot through my personal site, which is yoyojoe.com, yoyojoe.com.
Excellent. Thanks, man. Thanks, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Yeah.
And Gab, how about you?
People can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, Gabrielle Rail with 2 L's, or you can check out where I work at waro.com, Ouareau.
Excellent. Thanks, Gab. Look forward to seeing you soon. And so, thank you to both of them and to Dan. We do want to thank our editor, Matt Hansberger, who is known as Iskis at some camps that he runs, for editing this for us. We appreciate everything you do, Iskis. You can find our show notes from this episode and the past tools of the week at camphacker.tv/podcast. And thanks for the evening, friends.
The Camp Hacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening. Camp Hacker, bringing your world into focus.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. Quick, free, repeatable, you'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.